ensuring learning relevance in a hybrid world, strategies and best practices. For this, I introduce our speaker, Ms. Trupti Bais, Director of Learning and Development at JLL. Ms. Trupti is an experienced L&D leader specializing in driving business relationships, cultural transformation, and behavior change. With a data-driven approach and a passion for impactful outcomes, she designs and implements innovative learning solutions that elevate organizations and foster growth. With a huge round of applause, we welcome Ms. Trupti Bais on the dais.
Thank you.
Ma'am.
Hi, can you hear me? Oh, yes, you can. Okay, so very quickly, what I've put together are a bunch of slides in which you will see some of the material is repetitive to the conversations that you've all had. But really, the conversation I want to have today is how do you really do it on the ground, right? Just a little bit of perspective in terms of what I've been doing. I've been working for the last 19 plus years, and in my span of 19 plus years, I started with BPO. I went into being a business analyst, and that segued my way into being in learning and development. And I'm talking about back in 2009, when if I went to people from my team, which is the IT team or the networks team, the only training they used to know was, quick hint, what do you think was the IT training that a person would understand in 2009? Sorry? CCNA, ITIL, PMP. That's the only thing that made sense, right? So if I go to my IT SME and say, listen, you need to be a consultative partner, what would happen? What will happen if I go to an IT leader and say, listen, you need to be a consultative partner when you go into this conversation? What happens? We know what happens. Go take a walk. Or else, if not go take a walk, then it'll be okay, yeah, you say what you have to say, and we'll do what we have to do. So that's when I segued into learning and development, and that's the challenge that I've been trying to solve forever since. What I have is 4 slides that answer to the specific areas that we want to address. The first is, addressing specific pain points and job-related skill gaps. From ITES, today I'm working in a real estate organization. Okay, independent property consultants is what they call themselves. The skills are different. The workforce is vastly different because it's no longer ITs, engineers who will love to work virtual. It's not technology. It's blue-collar workforce. It's people who are sitting at a remote location somewhere in India, and for them, every education is an opportunity. Right? So it's that vast skill force that you need to think about. Now, when you talk about skill gaps, what is it that we can typically do to address the skill gaps? We can do competency mapping, but I don't have the time. Do we all have the time to always do competency mapping? No. Okay. What else can we do apart from competency mapping? To do skill gaps, you would have something like, for example, a JRSS tool that already has the skills captured. Will that always be updated? Do the managers encourage updation of the skills tool? Why? We are all fungible resources. But does that happen on the ground? Okay. So as an opportunity, something that happened with me is when I changed organizations, I was very happy that I will get a budget to manage, etc. And when I hit the ground, I was told everything internal, we are going to go for an integration. So all content, all programs, anything that you do for leaders, for managers, for onboarding new hires has to be internal. Yeah? So how do you do skill mapping in this case? Or how do you do the skill gaps? 2 simple things that worked for me wonders. One, I did TNA, religiously follow the TNA, ask the question, what is the business doing this year? In fact, today the priorities that I drive, my goals are not L&D goals. They are 6 strategic priorities for the business that I'm driving across West Asia. And everything that I align to L&D comes under that. But it is my business strategic goals. So 1, strategic priorities, 2, TNA, and the third, if all else fails, research. In one of my previous organizations, because it was internal, the only thing I had was to go do research, look at skills that are repetitive across multiple forums, like NASSCOM. There is ONET, if somebody has heard of ONET, which is a US skills hub. Collate the skills hub, take it to the business, interviews, fix it, map it to behaviors, and roll it out. Simple. How did I do this for one of the biggest IT giants in India, in the India L&D strategy? 4 behaviors. Think, adapt, relate, lead. 4 behaviors across all the levels with sub-skills identified to say what does each behavior mean. So for example, if I were to say that my people need to understand cognitive thinking as per the World Economic Forum, that would come under think, right? If I were to say that you need to lead yourself, where would that come? That would come under lead. So leading yourself, leading others, leading teams, leading projects, everything gets covered under leading. Yeah? Second, personalized learning. So personalized learning here, okay, let me say it this way. Everybody cannot afford an LXP, can we? How many of us have an LXP installed? How many of us are using LXP? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah. So that's the guesswork I had as well. So when you don't have an LXP, how do you make available the personalized learning? What are a few ways to you to do that? And will you have the hands and feet to do that also? Do you have the hands and feet? You have enough people in HRSS or L&D ops to support you? No. So this is another program that I ran for manager development. We ran this for about 280 people, and we had a 60 to 70% graduation rate. The only thing I did is how is it that I'm offering the learnings. It was 100% virtual. Yes, it was a 6-month journey. But in how we programmed it, we made the differential. It was a 72-hour long program, right? In 72 hours, I said, 18 hours is mandatory for you to attend. What is 18 hours? It's the tools and process training, right? And it is situational leadership that you have to attend, which is the boot camp. 18 hours mandatory, everybody has to do it. But I'm offering it to you through multiple sessions across 4 months. First thing. Now, out of 18 hours, this is fixed, boot camp is done. Apart from boot camp, X percentage is online, X percentage is virtual, and here is a list of 120 hours of learning topics that you can pick and choose to create your learning path. So for Trupti, if Trupti is creating her blended learning journey, then as per my role, I will focus on what part of online and virtual I want to do. But if you are more in a people managerial role, you will pick it for yourself and complete it. And how did I do situational leadership? We split the sessions across 3 weeks. First session in the first week, break of 2 weeks. Third week, you come back with what did you apply, where did you fail, and how can this help you? Did it really help you on the ground? So that is how we assimilated this, and we got fantastic feedback from business, just because we made it hyper-personalized. You do what you have to do, you choose what you have to, and do it at your own pace. The only thing that was a challenge was engagement. Unless you're connecting with each and every person, it will not work. It will fall flat, honestly, because those were the challenges that we faced. Third, skill relevance. In skill relevance, what I have to share is I began the year with a certain set of skills. Are they still relevant for you at this point in time? How we do this now at JLL is through quality conversations. There's a huge focus on creating a development plan, reassessing your development plan every 3 months or every 6 months for sure. How do we do this? Every touch point is called a quality conversation. Are you logging the quality conversations? Are managers having the quality conversations? And in the case of remote employees, right? We have at least 60% of our workforce working out of client sites. Many of them, like in IT firms, they don't come to the JLL office. They get onboarded to the client office. And then they don't know how their JLL colleagues look. So to ensure that we're able to do that, quality conversations, development programs, but only as strong as how strong your PXPs are or your HR partners are in following through, right? So that is where your scorecards, et cetera, help. Moving on, I spent enough time on this. Oh yeah, the last part is my favorite, yes, data-driven insights. So what is the data that you begin your conversations with? What is the data that you end your conversations with? Do you have a BI tool that helps you a lot to do the analysis? Or do you have to rely on going through everything manually? Big question to answer. Remote learning opportunities, again, it's utopian to say that we will all have the tech at our command. It's more about what is the tech that you already have available. So some of us may have Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Yammer, SharePoint. How are you making the best use of it? Do we all understand the functionalities? Because believe you me, in remote learning opportunities, I've had challenges where there is enough and more conversation in every program about my people need to know data analytics, they need to know MS Excel, they need to know business analysis, right? And all we had to do was to go to the Yammer site or SharePoint and see that one other wing or division of JLL is running daily programs on the same thing. Power BI, analytics, Excel, forms, smart sheets, you name it, it's there. What was missing? Cohesion, understanding, exploring. Half the times it's always, okay, I don't have money, why can't I go out and do something? So Yammer and SharePoint, or whatever tool it is that you have, try to see if there's people collaborating. People love to share. All I had to do was to say, okay, you are the SMEs, can you come and do this for us? No spend. Yeah? Okay, interactive and immersive learning, again, a lot of this has to do with, for example, a lot of research says, see if you can use VR, AR in what you're doing. But I think practically, given the fact that budgets are always a constraint, I think what's worked for me has been, one, the hyper-personalization. The second is, how is it that you're using gamification in simple ways, right? It's a lot about how your organization is, how the L&D organization is perceived. So even if it's a leadership interaction that I'm doing, am I introducing something fun? Because if nobody else is doing it, it's L&D's job to do it. I recently did a brainstorming session and I had a conversation with our HR leader saying, I'm going to introduce this activity. Simple activity, and we call these moments that we do 5 minutes at the beginning of every call. A lot of pushback, a lot of the HR partners said, no, it's senior audience, this, that. I said, okay, if we get bad feedback, I'll hold back. We did it, and you won't believe it, it was a 1-hour call. 25 minutes, we were only talking about what the activity was. Because everyone needs a good break. So interactive is great, immersive is great. If you can afford it, please use VR, AR. If not, how is it that you can do simple gamification in each and everything that you do? How is it that you introduce a competition, for example? I think that's the beauty of games. The minute you introduce competition, people will forget, oh, I have to be like this, right? That's the beauty of it. So that's one. Now I move on to the third. Oh, this is fantastic. Encouraging collaboration and peer-to-peer learning. Okay, learning communities. Again, this is something that we established in one of my previous organizations. I was amazed to see the community. Okay, this is an enterprise architect community. There is an internal panel. There are levels that you've decided in the growth path. And when a person wishes to join a community, you tell them upfront, this is something that you will do over and above your role. Right? So we had IT people from the IT teams coming into the enterprise architect community. There is a growth path that is defined. There are community leads that are defined. There is a board that approves. There is a local, regional, global board that approves it. And you will find it surprising that some of the enterprise architect community architects that were there in that organization have contributed to the TOGAF learning course. Have you all heard of TOGAF? It's an enterprise architect certification course. People who've been a part of the community have, I'll take another minute, have actually contributed to that course just because they are considered industry experts in their areas across the world. Social learning platforms, I would say a lot of this has to do with what is it that you're doing internally. We have tools that have come up now that talk about WhatsApp, leveraging WhatsApp, or direct integration with WhatsApp that you can do. There are tools that we are demoing at this time that talk about how is it that I learn a skill, upload a video, and make it social. So I've uploaded the video, its immediate application, and I have people who are experts, etc., who are logging in and telling me how to do it. There's a rating, just like Insta, there's likes, and you can share it forward. So immediately you know if I've been able to apply this or not. It could be as simple as fixing an HVAC system that I'm doing, right? Very quickly, mentorship, coaching, and sponsorship. The challenge that we're currently facing is how is it that you ensure that the mentors spend enough time? Mentees are always ready to do that. Finally, 3 things. I'll take 20 seconds. Is that okay? Leadership role modeling, again, has to do with culture change. In one of my previous organizations, the problem was we were canceling 80% of our programs because people would not turn up on time for programs. But the programs that we ran for directors, AVPs, VPs would all be full, there would not be any absence, and we would always complete them on time. So what is it that we did? One, leadership messaging across the board, where first we went to the CHRO, and I told her we will cancel programs for the next 6 months. And we did that, right? Leadership role modeling, we used to make the leadership sessions very visible. People are walking into the session. People are getting to see that the leaders are walking into a session. We are running the session. There's a lot of curiosity on why the session is happening. And there's a lot of engagement and games that we're doing with the leaders. And they're going back and talking about it. We have our India CEO, JLL. She talks about mentoring all the time in every conversation, right? So that's leadership role modeling. Agile learning mindset, how is it that you're making the learning relevant? Again, leadership contribution, co-create your plans, co-curate your plans, get the leadership to talk about their experiences. In some awards functions, we've actually asked our business leaders to come and pitch for L&D. So that's what I mean by agile learning. And recognizing learning achievements, again, how public is it that you're making people who are engaging in the learning? So that's all I had to share. Any questions, please send them to Naveen, and thank you very much. Thanks. Any comments? Ask for some comments. Any comments? Did you find it relevant? Yes, sir. You know how simple it was? I said when you log into I pitched it as, I said, okay, let's see how well you know how to use MS Teams. That's what I said. I posed it as a challenge, and I said, okay, I want you to think of it's as basic as this. Which is the animal that you identify with the most? I want you to go find a picture, put that as your background, and then switch on the camera. And I had one leader who's a consulting leader. He put the picture of a barren landscape with ice-capped mountains. And the question was, where is the animal? He said, the horse has just gone away. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ms. Trupti Bais, for sharing your thoughts. To do the honors, I request Mr. Manish Rathod, VP of Enterprise Business at EdForce, to please join us on the dais.